Hello, assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And I'm back, even though I really don't want to, because seriously, every single thing that we had already said was going to happen is happening. I mean, as I told you, expect more and more weird incidents and street crimes, and expect more allegedly heroic efforts from the army or, the law enforcement agencies, anything, anything that would induce subjugation of the public one way or the other, if not through fear, then through psychological engineering or manipulation, to cover up what's actually going on as if it could ever be covered up, and simply just to make way for total control, in other words dictatorship. And one such incident is the farce, I'm sorry, but an absolute farce of an incident where even the BBC, either the BBC is part of it all, where they have been told by their government that they need to cover this in order to make way for the illegal government to be accepted worldwide, even though it's not. But the fact that BBC even covered it is proof. It's absolute proof of my point. That I mean, can you imagine? Imagine that for 2 to 3 years, calligraphic clothings and shawls and scarves and dupattas and stoles, they've been trending in Pakistan, right? And because and in other countries too, I guess. But mainly it started up from Pakistan and it's trending in Pakistan. So after 2 years, suddenly the crowd has become ignorant. And after 2 years, suddenly the crowd decides that it has become a religious issue for some woman to wear a calligraphic shirt. Seriously? And oh, miraculously, the ASP, Shehrbano, comes to her rescue, and look at the headlines. She saves her life. Like, seriously? I mean, how many times are people actually going to fall for this? How many times are people going to fall for this BS, this farce, this drama? In our language, we call it topi drama. This farce of a situation that has been created by so obviously the establishment, where suddenly they decide to provoke somebody in the crowd, and the crowd is not even your normal crowd. You can see that these are people who have been put there in order to create the situation, to create this. For 2 years nobody thought about it being a religious issue, but all of a sudden after 2 years our people decided to regress in their awareness and regress in their education and regress in their mentality, or in their psychological factors, that suddenly they decide that, oh, they have to take an issue with a woman wearing a calligraphic dress. Oh, please, seriously, who the hell are you fooling? And you know what, if you have managed to fool those people, they deserve to be fooled. This has been my principle in life, that if you can fool somebody, right? I mean, fool me once, shame on me, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So seriously, shame on you, all of you who are getting fooled over and over again, right? And even more shame on you if you think that you can keep on fooling us again and again. I mean, seriously? Okay, forget that. I mean, look at the. I mean, remember that this is all taking place so that they should divert your attention from what exactly is going on, which is the point that I'm coming to. As I said, forget that, because the main problem here is that an incomplete assembly has called for an ijlas. Ijlas is, the meeting. They've called for the meeting, which the president of Pakistan refused and rejected. And it is his prerogative. He's the one who's supposed to call for the ijlas. And he refused to do so because it's unconstitutional and it's illegal. But hey, has anybody ever done anything legal or constitutional? For the past 2 years, the PDM have been ripping the constitution to shreds. They have been illegally putting reforms that actually go against the very constitution of Pakistan. Remember something that I've been saying for a very, very long time ago. Pakistan is not a sovereign state. India is not a sovereign state. None of the colonies of the United Kingdom were ever sovereign states. That is the first thing that the United Kingdom did, or the British did, is that they just, you know, put the burden over to their biggest colony, America. They shifted the whole burden to America and they said, okay, now you need to start taking care of all our colonies and you need to start making sure that we still retain control over them. This is why they still have control over their so called allies. As I've said again and again, America does not have allies, these are all their slaves, their servants. These are all those countries from whom the British have stolen, from whom the Europeans have stolen. And, you know, from social to religious to constitutional to legal system, right? All the way down to resources. Everything that America and Europe have are stolen. Keep that in mind, okay? It's all stolen. Now, again, back to where we are. Here is the Punjab Assembly where, 313 members are sworn in, including Maryam Nawaz. And one wonders that these are all those people who actually, lost. They lost in the elections. Many senior veteran politicians of Nawaz Sharif's party blatantly refused to be gifted their seats and positions. They're like, you don't want us, are you telling us to commit political suicide? We're never going to do that, right? So Javed Latif, who's supposed to be the right-hand man of Nawaz Sharif, who's supposed to be his unofficial spokesperson, actually. So it's said that whatever he says is basically what Nawaz Sharif cannot say himself, but wants to be said. And that person on the mainstream media, he accepts the fact that yes, there was this massive rigging, and yes, none of these people who are taking oath are even supposed to be taking oath, because they are all fake ministers. They didn't even, they don't even have their form 45. It can be challenged anytime, but who's following the law? Who's following the constitution? Here we have it. We have these people standing there taking oath. And the worst part about Maryam Nawaz is, as we know, she and her father have been mimicking and copying Imran Khan in every single thing. They've stolen his projects, they've stolen his ideas, they've stolen his schemes. And here's the latest promise that she's making, that they are going to go door to door to provide Ramzan packages to the poor. Hello, this was a system, again, that was started by Imran Khan in order to reduce, because as far as the PDM is concerned, as far as Nawaz Sharif and Zardari and all, they have always been humiliating the public, making them stand in lines for something as small as even a packet of sugar. And it was Imran Khan who just decided that, okay, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're going to find out those people who are not even in the condition to come out of their homes. We're going to find those people who barely make ends meet, but they're not going out. They're not looking for government rations. They're not looking for free meals and whatever. So during Ramzan especially, there was a whole mapping out of the people, and basically the whole ration and stuff, all the necessities were sent to their doorstep, okay, by the PTI workers. I know that for a fact, because everybody wasn't, because remember, PTI is the largest party of Pakistan for a reason, because the population, the mass, the people themselves are members of the PTI. We are all members of the PTI, and we were part of all of this, this whole Ramzan package thing. So yeah, the public is aware of the fact that this was a scheme that was started by Imran Khan. And here we have Maryam Nawaz promising to start this game. You're not starting anything. You're just taking something that was already done and you're making it yours as always. And not to mention the fact that I know for a fact that you will still not do it. You're saying you will do it, but you will never do it. Why? Because Nawaz Sharif's party, like Nawaz Sharif, they're famous for this thing, that just for photo shoots, they've given people money, and then as soon as the camera is turned off, they take the money back from the people. So we've seen that happen years in and years out. Okay? So she's talking about women empowerment, and yet she is the same woman who ordered the law enforcement agencies to sexually assault, to threaten, to verbally abuse, to physically abuse women of all ages. Okay, these past 2 years, she is the woman who ordered the humiliation or attempted humiliation and the threat and the blackmail of all other women. Keep that in mind, okay, before you start smoking your cigar on women empowerment. Okay, you are actually the very opposite of women empowerment. Seeing you there is, in any, if anything, it's just a humiliation for all the women who are empowered. Okay, for example, okay, if you're so much into women empowerment, what about the women who have reserved seats in Punjab Assembly? Why aren't they there? Why haven't you let them take oath and sit in their seats? What about the minority seats? So without minority seats, without the women's seats, without these reserved seats, you are actually beginning an ijlas, seriously. And this is the reason why the president refused to call for an ijlas, because he's like, first complete your assembly. Your assembly is not complete. So you have 99 MPAs who lost the elections, and they decided, oh, we're just going to take oath anyway. We're going to create our own chief minister, that is Maryam Nawaz, and we're going to start our own assembly, right? And so at the end of the day, look at Saptan, Saptan, the a-hole, who as the speaker assembly, just before he leaves, what he does is that he hurriedly, takes the oath of 313 MPAs in Punjab Assembly in the inaugural session. Again, why even, and then after that, now the speaker of now the speaker of Punjab Assembly, he is saying that that they will do the ijlas on the 29th of February regardless of everything. Seriously? The president just said you cannot do it until you have all your seats complete. And the speaker thinks that he is more powerful than the president, that he can override his decision, he can override his rejection. And in fact, look at the thuggery. Look at the thuggery here, that they're now thinking that they actually have the gall to threaten the president, and they're saying that now they will create a case against the president so that they can put him in jail too. If this does not scream preparation for dictatorship, I don't know what does, okay? Let me again, first of all, explain to you that the total number of seats of the Punjab Assembly are 371. You have 297 general seats, you have 66 seats reserved for women and 8 reserved for non-Muslims, okay? And we have a total of 313 MPAs, and we have 0 MPAs in the 66 seats reserved for women, 0 MPAs in the 8 seats reserved for non-Muslims. Okay, take that into account, and then understand why the president refused to call an ijlas of the Punjab Assembly. Okay. Now, again, keep in mind that the KPK Assembly, they're trying to cripple it as much as they can, because that is the one place where they cannot do what they want to do, because the overwhelming majority of the PTI, which was also in the Punjab Assembly actually, but the fact that the PTI has 100% of the KPK's seats, that is what is, proving to be a problem for them. And then we have Bilawal Bhutto, who now is, he at first he was trying his level best that he should make a deal with PTI. Obviously, PTI would never make a deal with that a-hole. He was part of the PDM, and now he's crying alligator tears. And at one point he's crying alligator tears, and at the other point he's going on making deals with the current establishment as always. Okay, so we have these things going on here. You tell me, what exactly are we supposed to think? What exactly is the world, you think that the world is laughing at them? They think the world is laughing with them. Why? Because ultimately the world is also pretty much useless. As we can see, where Kashmir is concerned, where Palestine is concerned, they're all standing in their own within their own safety nets, while screaming, oh, stop that, oh, stop that, oh, stop that, what are you doing? And they're doing the same with Pakistan. At the end of the day, the dawn of the global mafia, America, America's controlling it all. America's controlling everything that's going on. Remember, I've said this before, and now you can see the proof, the evidence of everything that I've been saying for a long time, that America and Europe are behind all the wars, all the conflicts, all the global level trafficking, especially drugs and human smuggling and trafficking. Again, child pornography, it doesn't matter which country they are in, one way or the other, they get linked to America and Europe. Now imagine the whole chaos in the world is caused by America and the minions and the hounds that America has placed in different countries. So when it comes to IMF again, as I've said before, Imran Khan is actually doing us a favor, by even telling the IMF to stop any further funding. Why? Because, first of all, remember, as long as we are kept under the IMF loan schemes, we will always be a slave. Again, remember, because the fact that Jinnah knew that Pakistan was actually originally not supposed to be a sovereign state, and the fact that he took that away from the British and he turned Pakistan into a sovereign state, and the fact that before he could 100% complete that transition, he was killed by, again, who? The army personnel placed by the British before they left. And that is what the army has continued to do. It is what the army has continued to do. Every time a leader, a politician stands up in order to make Pakistan 100% a sovereign state, that leader is put down. They've all been killed one by one, and now Imran Khan is the only one who is left. He is probably the last in line. And I think finally the people have understood that and realized that. And that is why the people have begun to make things difficult. But again, remember, the people of Pakistan are to blame. Why? Because you're over 2 billion. You're over 2 billion, and not even a single one of you has the guts to go and shoot them dead. Seriously? Remember Indira Gandhi? Remember how she was killed when she decided to go for the ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Sikh community? Right? So what the hell is, you're constantly bragging about our army, about how huge it is, how powerful it is, and how this and how that, and how many competitions they've won all over the world, and this and that. And yet not a single one could just go and shoot the chief of army staff in the head. Right between the eyes. No, not a single one could do a sting operation or an undercover operation and kill Nawaz Sharif and Zardari and their families. No. Nobody. And you call yourself the army? Seriously, you call yourself, soldiers, and you call yourself ghazis and shaheeds and all. You've just humiliated all the ghazis and shaheeds that we had, or we have, okay? You just humiliated them. You just put them to shame. Right? At the moment where we stand is the reason why, despite the fact that every day there's a protest, there's a nationwide protest, there is a shutter down strike, there's such, as I said before, remember I said before that when we will have the elections, it will be like Bangladesh. And remember, in Bangladesh, there were nationwide riots. People were killed. At the end, Hasina Wajid is still there. And suddenly America is so happy with all it has done that it decided to call Bangladesh, the second largest democracy. After Hasina Wajid became the dictator of Bangladesh. Okay, it really makes you think, right, on the concept of dictatorship. It's the same with India. That is the reason why I keep calling India an idiot, is because India thinks that, America and the British, they're working, and Israel, they're working with India in order to cripple Pakistan and in order to cripple all the neighboring countries of India, all the rivals, and they're handing everything over on a platter to India. Actually, these are the very warning signs. The fact that India has not earned a single thing. It doesn't have a single thing to its name in merit. Every single thing has been handed down to them. They couldn't even win a bloody cricket match, seriously, against Pakistan. That too had to be handed down to them, So the fact that India is literally enslaved without even the people knowing through these little things. The fact that India was made a global market without any actual merit, the fact that India became, one of the most, is becoming, futuristically one of the most powerful countries again. All of these are illusions. These are all illusions created when India is actually suffering. Its people are suffering. Okay, India is always, almost every day, on the verge of on the verge of a collapse. Okay, the fact that India right now does not even know, except for maybe a few, wide awake people, that it too has transitioned into dictatorship under Modi. I mean, Modi is a mass murderer. He's somebody who was directly responsible for the genocide in Gujarat, and then he becomes your prime minister, and nobody's happy with him. Nobody in the parliament is happy with him. Nobody on the streets are happy with him. He's a fanatic. He created India into a fanatical society, an extremist society, where every day there are religious killings, there are killings of minorities, there are rapes, there are assaults there. And now the same pattern will, I mean, more or less the same pattern has begun in Pakistan, okay, on a more subdued level compared to India, right? But still, it has begun, as you can see. So tell me that you cannot see what's going on here. Tell me that you just cannot see how all of our countries that were once developed, rich countries, encroached upon by the Brits and the Europeans, you know, and now reduced to colonies and post colonies where we still cannot even get back our actual sovereignty. Tell me that you cannot see that. And tell me that even though we are billions and millions and trillions of people all over the world, we cannot deal with a handful of those minions, those hounds, those traitors that these white-assed people just submerged amongst us. Tell me that we are powerless. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.